Chapter 7, Granpa. Du Rua received 2 phone calls, one from Jiang Shaoxian, the other from Aunt Lu. Both of them told her that the procedures for going abroad had been completed, and Jiang Shaoxian had delivered the goods to her house. Knowing that everything had gone smoothly, she felt very comfortable. When she got home, Aunt Lu had already prepared dinner and was waiting for her to come home to eat. Aunt Lu knew she was in a hurry, so she first showed her the prepared documents. These are the documents lawyer Jiang sent. Don't look at them for too long, quickly wash your hands and eat. I know. How could she not know? Aunt Lu glanced at her sitting on the sofa reading the documents, sigh, regretful again, this child also has to leave. As if sensing something, she raised her head to look, her hand paused for a moment, she still put down the documents in her hand, washed her hands and ate. Aunt Lu, I won't leave so quickly. Although the documents are done, I still haven't found a trustworthy person to manage my assets, and I still haven't found the room over there. This matter will take 10 days or half a month, Auntie, you still have to take care of me for a while. Furthermore, the Chow family on the other side has not returned yet. Although she wants to cut ties with the other side, but after all, there is no boundary line in the relationship, right? If she even goes abroad and does not report such a big matter, she is afraid that in the future, the Chow family will bite back, and others will also take advantage of her weakness. Okay. I'll think carefully, I'll make some things to nourish you during the remaining time. I heard that people just arrived in a foreign country and couldn't eat the food they served. I wonder if you can get used to it. Aunt Lu wiped her apron. Also, what do you need to bring when going abroad? Are you well prepared? Do you have all those things? I'll help you prepare them. No, I have to go write it down, to avoid forgetting it later. Turned around and went into the room. Du Rua smiled helplessly, but her eyes were filled with tenderness. No need to rush. It will come slowly. A voice rang out from the lounge. Private clubhouse. What did you two hear? So serious? Chen Yan gave Ya a glass of juice. This person had drunk quite a bit of alcohol, could not drink any more. Xiang Xing and I heard 2 girls chatting in the toilet. The other 2 mentioned that Du Rua was going through the procedures for going abroad. Yao Yu happily accepted the juice. How nice. Chen Yan frowned. Procedures for going abroad? She's preparing to go abroad? This was no small matter. Not too clear, those 2 people are just hearsay. Xiang Xing immediately rubbed her hands, she also did not understand, what happened to Qi Shen. Where did he run off to? He did not come back, his wife is about to run away, don't blame us for not respecting him. Probably went on a mission. Chen Yan also did not know. Didn't he not graduate yet? Yao Yu asked doubtfully. How come he was suddenly sent on a mission like this? Couldn't it be that he took the initiative to ask to go? Xiang Xing grew up in the compound since she was young, and knew more about this aspect of military education than Yao Ya. He'll be back soon. Chen Yan didn't answer her question. I'm afraid that when he returns, Du Rua will no longer be in the country, Xiang Xing sarcastically said without mercy. Troubledly ruffling his hair, Chen Yan beat his rhythm. Let's go back and ask the adults in the house. See if we can contact him? Du Rua didn't know that someone was worried about her going abroad, perhaps she had finally done everything well, her mood had relaxed quite a bit, and these past few days she didn't have any trouble waking up late. After Du Rua finished her morning practice, under Aunt Lu's urging, she stuffed the extra breakfast into her stomach one by one. She patted her full stomach, really worried that the little one hadn't started to grow yet, and that her stomach had also bulged out because of eating too much. Having to say, Du Rua really? In the next 1 or 2 months, her belly was like a balloon that had been blown up. At that time, she seemed to be thoughtfully stroking her belly, perhaps after being in the cultivation world for a few years, she still had some of the divine Kuan's ability. Of course, she didn't know it yet, she was secretly resenting Aunt Lu for adding more supplements and food to her meals. Before she could digest her food, the other side called. Who is it? She received the phone from Aunt Lu, held the phone, and asked softly. To be honest, she was really worried that it would be Xiang Xing and the others. Although her stomach was still unclear, but she was afraid that someone would notice, so she couldn't hide it. Aunt Lu was originally a bit dissatisfied with the other person's arrogant attitude, but when she saw Du Rua's mysterious, humorous expression, she couldn't help but curl up the corners of her mouth and softly said, "I don't know, it sounds like a middle-aged woman's voice." Turned around and returned to the kitchen to clean up. She herself seemed to have a lot of guts. Even though she was a nanny in Du Rua's house, she only cooked a little rice. On the other hand, Du Rua hired an hourly maid to clean the house. Normally, Du Rua treated her like an elder. In the house, her son and daughter-in-law were filial. She had turned into a formidable old woman. In the past, when someone beat her son miserably, she could endure being ridiculed and scolded by others. Now, she couldn't stand being ordered around. This bad habit had to be corrected. Otherwise, in a few years, she would be an old woman that everyone hated. Middle-aged woman? Du Rua frowned. Hello. This hello was like a trigger that set off a mine, making her almost throw her phone down. Xiao Rua. What happened to you? It's been so long since you've answered the phone? Normally you don't come home to visit your grandparents. Is it because you have your mother's property, have money, and look down on the Qiao family? Balabalabala. The person on the other end of the phone became more and more emotional, and her voice became more and more sharp. Du Rua placed the phone on the armrest of the sofa. She herself sat on one side reading the newspaper. This way she could hear the sound, and could also protect her ears from the noise. She didn't know if the baby had been scared just now. Speaking of which, after more than 3 months, was there a need to start taking care of the pregnancy? She would have to look up more information later. After a while, the person on the other side, the woman seemed to have discovered Du Rua's behavior. Qiao Rua? Qiao Rua. Are you listening? She accepted her fate and picked up the phone. Yes, I'm listening. Yes, Qiao Lingling nodded in satisfaction. I was about to continue speaking, when someone snatched the phone away. Who was so bold? Papa. Du Rua saw the other party suddenly had no sound, was about to hang up. Rua. The old voice came from the mobile phone. Her hand stopped for a while, still holding the mobile phone. Grandpa, why haven't you come back for so long? Xiao Zhenbang didn't say anything. He himself seemed like he really hadn't had this granddaughter for a long time. Du Rua nodded, not prepared to answer these words. Not seeing each other for so long, not caring whether the body is fine or not, whether the mood is fine or not, you must know, this niece since her mother passed away, is not a cat or dog. As soon as he spoke, he questioned, why didn't she come back to visit? She was afraid that this question, he also just suddenly thought of it. Xiao Zhenbang sighed, thinking that his granddaughter was angry with her father. Today is your grandmother's birthday, come back and have a meal with the family. Your father also come back. She instinctively looked at the calendar next to the TV. October 18th? Can't remember clearly. Okay, I'll come back tonight. The two of them casually chatted for a few sentences, then quickly hung up. Today is Grandma's birthday? Isn't that why she had to prepare a gift? Thinking back to that life, it seems like something happened today, because she gave her something? Forget it, if she doesn't remember, that's it. Her mind flashed with Grandma's face, wanting to go out and buy a gift. Aunt Lu, she walked to kitchen. I want to go to Qiao's house tonight, it's my grandmother's birthday. I want to go out to buy a gift now. Do you want to buy something? I'll buy it for you. Oh, you want to go alone? Aunt Lu asked anxiously. I don't need to buy anything. But, is it safe for you to go alone? There are so many people in the mall. Aunt Lu turned her head to look at the kitchen that had been cleaned up 7 or 8 parts. I'll go with you. Auntie Lu, don't be so nervous, she rolled her eyes, this was too exaggerated. Anyway, I'm fine, can't I go out for a walk with you? Aunt Lu pretended to blame. Hurry, didn't you want to go out? Haven't you changed your clothes yet? Actually, there was no need to change. Du Rua looked beautiful. Aunt Lu felt that whatever she wore looked very good. Du Rua lowered her head to look at her clothes. Not bad. No need to change. This look is neat and tidy. Where are we going? Aunt Lou quickly sat in the front seat. Even though her son had a lot of money now, she still had no way to compare with Du Roi. This car, if it wasn't for Du Roi, she was afraid she wouldn't have the chance to sit in it. Du Roi looked at Aunt Lou with amusement. This Volvo was bought after she was reborn, and she focused on a relatively high safety factor. The previous high-end cars had been sold by her. After all, she wouldn't buy a car that was too flashy. But even with this car, Aunt Lou still felt that it was too expensive. Once she sat in it, she wouldn't dare to move it even a little bit, afraid of damaging something. Let's go to the Empire State Building. I'll go there and pick out a gift. She thought, only remembering such a place. That place is very expensive. Aunt Lou exclaimed, haha, buying things for the elderly, there's no way. But actually she wanted to save some work, just go in there and choose something. She put her arm around Aunt Lou's elbow, and headed straight to the top floor of the Empire State Building, where there were famous jewelry stores, although they were a bit expensive, but the quality was guaranteed. Hello, welcome to visit, may I ask, can I help you with anything? The waiter saw Du Roi enter the store, his eyes lit up, and he enthusiastically welcomed them. The eyes of the attendants inside the jewelry store all had eyes, although Du Roi was not wearing precious jewelry, but a leisurely swan velvet suit and simple-looking shoes were not cheap at all, not to mention the noble aura she had on her body. TSK, if this girl was not a rich person, then who could she be? After a long time, the bit of strength that her body had previously left behind had disappeared without a trace. This Du Roi was truly forged from an ancient noble family. Her temperament and the demeanor of a kind-hearted doctor had also gradually appeared. A waiter hurriedly invited the manager out. Miss Du, hello. May I ask what can I help you with? Obviously, being able to be a manager is not a simple person. She knew Du Roi at a glance. This was also because Du Roi had bought quite a bit here before. But she could also call out her family name. After careful consideration, she was afraid that recently she had been gossiping about the Chow family with the ladies. Du Roi was fine, want to choose a gift to give to the elderly. How old is she? The manager thought for a moment, and raised the question. She couldn't remember clearly, probably over 70 years old. The manager turned back to the counter and took out a wooden box covered in velvet. Miss Du, why don't you look at this jade bracelet? It's best for the elderly to wear jade bracelets, it looks elegant and formal, and it also makes the body healthy. She looked at the jade bracelet, not very satisfied. Is there anything else? Of course. Even though the manager tried her best to hide her excitement, Du Roi still felt it. Ah. Being a fat goat. Miss Du, please follow me. The manager invited Du Roi into a VIP room. Aunt Lou, you can also go and see, whatever you like, I will give it to you. Du Roi was worried that Aunt Lou would be bored. When does my person normally have time? I don't have the chance to bring these things. You're thoughtful, I'm very happy. Aunt Lou happily and cheerfully evaluated this VIP room. Du Roi remembered that in the space, besides medicinal herbs, there were also jewelry and jade. Ah. Forget it. Later, when she saw something suitable, she would give it to Aunt Lou. After a long while, Du Roi was kindly escorted out of the VIP room by the manager. The manager muttered, how could she not be considerate? The purchase was already over 100,000. As a result, as soon as she walked out of the VIP room, she saw a relatively familiar back, and she felt her brain starting to ache. Chow Rua, why are you here? Chow Rua, why are you here? The little girl beside Chow Xian was startled when she saw Du Rua. Hearing the sharp voice, Du Rua instinctively frowned.